Peace, y'all. White man divides and conquers. That's what we always say. We always hear that we've allowed the white man to divide and conquer. Well, wait a minute, let me make sure I'm live. So I guess I'm live. But we always hear that we allow the white man to divide and conquer. The white man has divided and conquered us, and ever since he's made this intrusion into our life on our people, we have not been able to get right ever since. This is what we're told, but I think that's false. I think that's false, and I want to look at that point, and I want to play the white man's advocate tonight, right? The reason I say that's false is if we just look at look at, I got that damn alpha piece of hair. We look at how we got to when we met up with European people, and when European people came to Africa and met up with us, we were already there. We already had civilization. We weren't, ignorant and backward as people, as we're led to believe. But one thing that, if you look at the way they did it, because when you come on the coastland of an established continent, or groups of nations of people who already have a way of living, what you notice is it's very hard to take that over. Even with superior technology, it's very hard to take over somebody that has land. Because you could look at when America went at the Philippines, back in I forget what year it was, but they had superior technology, they had napalm, they had all these different things, but they still could not take them over because they had land. And when you have land, you could do anything. They could burn everything and make it harder for you to advance. They can go underground even though you're bombing overground. They can put glass in the food and poison you along the way, set traps. So it's very difficult when they get to Africa and they see that we got this large land, we're superior in technology, but how do we make it through them? You said, what's up with me and my titles? Yeah, man, I got to keep people thinking, man. So we got to be thinking, man. But anyway, so how do you get through that? Some people say you divide and conquer, but if you look at what they were doing, they were playing tribes against each other that were already against each other. Like you hear people say, Africans sold Africans into slavery. Not really true. Yes, we sold other Africans, but people don't understand that in the 16th century, in the 15th century, there was no such thing as an African. There was no such thing as a black person. And what I mean by that is that people did not think of themselves as an African. They didn't think of themselves like that. They thought of themselves as, I'm such and such from this tribe. These are my people. So everybody was in the smaller tribes. And in these smaller tribes, because they were having disputes between one another, white folks were able to trade. They were able to engage in trade of other people. So they would say, listen, since you got into a war and you got into a fight with this group of people, give us some of your prisoners of war. We take them and make them slaves, and we'll give you guns to fight those other groups of people. But the key is that it's not that they necessarily divided them, because if you think about it, there was already a divide there. If these people are already warring groups of people, there was already a divide there. You see, they just conquered that divide. They exploited that weakness. And if you really look at things, that, to this day, we still like that. Black people are still fragmented. Everywhere we go, we're very tribal. We form small groups, even on the continent still. People still identify less with their nation and more so with where they're from, their tribal background, And I hear we're not supposed to call them tribes, and I understand that point. But for the point that I'm making, you see that we identify more with the small group than we do with the larger group, and that's why we get taken over, and to this very day, they take existing things, existing differences, they just we make our own divisions, and then they just exploit those. So I think the only reason I want to put that title out there and put this whole idea out there is because I think we need to stop blaming the white man for dividing us. We already were divided, and that is really the main issue. We're divided. We need to own that, and I think we need to change our perspective on that and saying, instead of saying stop allowing the white man to divide us, we need to be saying, why are we divided? Because we were divided already, and that's how they were able to take over us, and that's how they were able to get into power now. The only reason white people came into power is because they were the least divided people on the planet. They used to fight so much, and they were very aggressive and fought a lot. So they fought so much that they drove each other into higher technology, and then eventually when they left, okay, they were able to unite at least enough to take over us who would not unite. And it's really that simple to this very day. If you look at early American history, when you had white immigrants coming here, you seen Jewish people beefing with Irish people beefing with German people, German beefing with Anglo people. They always found these different little divides, and they always fought amongst one another. But if you look at them today, you can hardly tell. They just all identify as white. But the reason that we're having trouble is because we have trouble doing that. We have trouble doing that. We can come up with all these different differences amongst us. People in the same city living in very similar circumstances find different ways to be different, to separate themselves. I'm a Crip, you a Blood, I'm a GD, I'm a this. We always find ways to separate each other. We always, oh, you're light skinned, oh, you're this and you're mama that, But it's like, if you look at all the differences that European people have, all the differences that they have, and all you got to do just play the movie Gangs of New York Gangs, I think it's called. But it's basically in the early 20th century, is just showing all the divides and how white people actually used to go to war with one another, and how they would always listen to old mob movies and make a good point for the white man. Yeah, I want to play the white man's advocate, man, because the problem is we're blaming it on the white man when we're not seeing that really we're the ones dividing ourselves. Like, that's us. We did it. We were already divided already. You know what I'm saying? Now, is the white man taking over it and exploiting it, or whatever the case is, how you feel about that is on you. I'm of the personal belief that if you put yourself in a weak position, being taken over, being ran over is your destiny. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, it's going to happen. So don't be in a weak position, But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. I just think instead of blaming the white man and saying, listen, the white man divided us, we need to own the fact that we were already divided. And he just took advantage of that, because if we were together and on the continent the way they were on together and taking the continent, even with their superior technology, there's no way that they could have taken control of an entire continent. It's no way that it could have been done. That's the only way it's done, and the only way they can do anything and take any advantage of us and take over anything now is because we create these little divides, and once we create the divides, he conquers the divide. And it's that simple. So just change up the way that you think about that, man, and own that, man, because that's the only reason that they're up. The only reason that whiteness is the only reason white people are up. They were the first ones to say, listen, if we put all this aside, we can take over this whole everything and call ourselves just white, while everybody else is saying I'm Igbo, I'm a Blood, I'm a Crip. So we should blame ourselves. We should blame ourselves that we were conquered and enslaved and disconnected from our culture. So we were asking for it. We caused it. I don't know if we were asking for it, no. But should we blame ourselves? Who else are you gonna blame, man? You know what I mean? Because if we put all the blame on white people, then we put all the responsibility on white people. It's really just that simple. You said we caused it. Yeah, man. Listen, bro. If you going around, you have something that people want, and you make it easy for them to get, it's just nature that you're gonna get taken over. If an antelope just sits lollygagging, even though he sees predators in the midst amongst him, okay, is he asking for it? Maybe not, but it's gonna happen. So regardless of how you want to frame it, it's gonna happen. Don't be weak. And you know what I'm saying? Yes, we have to point out when someone is doing evil, devilish things. Yes, we have to point that out. Yes, we have to observe that. And that's not something that we want to say is okay. But the reality of it is that antelope grazing in that garden, when everybody else ran, when he sees the predator's mouth water and he see the spit dripping off his mouth, and he's just gonna sit there and lollygag and be lazy, what do you think is gonna happen to him? Who cares about the morality of whatever the situation is? It's going to happen. He said, not entirely. We are responsible for getting out of the situation. You can't listen. You are responsible for your own action. This is just that simple. We are responsible for our own actions. Now, is the white man responsible for everything that he has done to us? 100%, yes. But in the end of the day, we are the ones that put ourselves in the position. You have to look back. You know what I'm saying? If somebody steals something from you, but you left your locker unlocked, the person that stole it is dead wrong. There's no way around the fact that the person, that the thief, is dead wrong. But we know when you look back and you reflect and you say, listen, I know thieves exist. I know what time it is. I know how to put a lock on my locker. How can you not blame yourself partially for that? There's just no way around that. Now, should we push for a world where people don't want to do these type of heinous acts and we don't have these people? I don't want that type of world, but I'm saying in the end of the day, I'm black. I've been black for 29 years. This blackness ain't going nowhere. And if you black, no matter how much bleaching cream and all that you use, your blackness is not going nowhere. Nature is not going to change. The weak will get eaten alive, and that's just what it is. So as long as we know that that's what it is, sitting and putting it on white people, listen, put things on white people that belong on white people. I'm not here to, I'm not no advocate for no white people, straight up, you know what I mean? And if you know me, you know that. I don't really care about white people like that. But the thing is, the only reason I take this stance where a person could say I'm in a defense of them is because it's not about them, it's about us. We're taking the wrong perspective. And the wrong perspective is to say, oh, well, you know, this is because, you know, the white man divided us. No, we were already divided. You understand? We were already divided. They had a Berlin conference, we didn't have one, you know? We didn't have a Timbuktu conference where we said, all right, listen, all right, we're being attacked from all directions with these people. Let's fortify to this position. We are no longer Igbo. We are no longer, you know, this tribe, that tribe. But we're just one people, you know, and that's what they had the ability to do. And we still have the inability and the lack of it to this day, you know, especially on the continent. And that's really the only thing that they have. Without that, there's nothing else. He said, okay, there you go, I'm with you. He said, put things on white people that belong on them. Yeah, I mean, that's all it, you know, I don't speak for white people. I damn sure don't defend white people. They got enough bombs to blow up the world twice. What the hell they need me to defend them for? Straight up. I can't stand black people always want to defend white people. It irritates the hell out of me. You can't even say anything about white people. Black people quick to be a damn pro bono lawyer running to their defense. Oh, but hold on, wait a minute, it's not all of them. I mean, you're a racist too. I can't stand that. But, you know what I'm saying? With that being said, you know where I'm coming from with this. Change your perspective. Change your perspective, you know. I see us dividing ourselves. You know, I was having a conversation with one of my elders earlier. You know, he was talking about, or my pops, I don't know if my dad's still watching. My dad used to talk about how when I was younger, I didn't think racism would exist. I would argue against him. Like, nah, no, it's not. That's black people being lazy. That's just this and that. You know, but the reason why was because in our generation, we couldn't see it like that. We couldn't really see white people doing things to us directly. We didn't see it. Most of the people that was doing shiesty stuff to me, that was worried about what kind of shoes I was wearing, trying to jump me, chasing, shooting, that was black people doing that. And that's all we really saw. So it was difficult for me to see that this is really, indirectly, this is really white people doing this, that have caused it, and they're still doing indirect stuff to you to this day. But they're at the point where it's like, if we're engaging in warfare amongst each other, under the auspices of them, there's no need for them to engage in physical violence. You know what I mean? So, but just coming up, it's very difficult to see that. But I had the opposite views of this. Ask my dad, he'll tell you. Like, I would argue with them. I mean, I remember I went to Alabama straight out of high school. I used to argue with they from Alabama. You know what I'm saying? So they know what it is. And I used to argue with them. You know what I mean? Some brothers, they from Montgomery, like, nah, that ain't them, that's this. So, you know, I wasn't always at this point. But now I'm dragging this on. Minahati said I just kind of did this. He said I'm kind of defending them. I ain't defending nobody, man. Hell with them. I'm saying we need to change our perspective. But I don't want to make this drag on, but I'm going to holler at y'all, man. Peace.